Learning Ally is a proud sponsor of the Empowered Dyslexia podcast. Learning Ally, a nonprofit education organization, helps to transform the lives of struggling learners by delivering proven solutions that help students reach their potential. We have a heritage of supporting students with a reading deficit like dyslexia. Our award-winning human-read audiobook solution helps students in grades 3 through 12 access books they want and need to read to help them succeed. Visit www.learningally.org for more information.
The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional legal advice, medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your attorney, advocate, physician, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding any medical or educational concerns.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Hello and welcome to Empower Dyslexia. I'm your host, Stephen Yearout, and on this show, we're here to help you become a better partner in education. We discuss dyslexia and other related disorders. We discuss research. We discuss interventions. We discuss special education policy at the local, state, and federal level. We also interview experts in their fields, and the part that I love the most is we get to speak to people that have personal stories. So please be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, get all of our podcasts on any of the apps that you currently use to download your favorite podcasts. We're on every app that you can possibly imagine. If you want to watch the show live, we're on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and now we actually have our own app on Fire TV. Today's guest is a special guest, and I've been waiting so long to try to get this person on our show because his story is so amazing. His name is Andrew Lewis, and he is from Trinidad and Tobago. He's a Olympic sailor, the laser class. He was in the Summer Olympics 2012 and 2016. He has his own foundation where he is helping focus on people fulfilling their dreams through sports education and building community. He's a special person, and I'm so proud and honored to have him on the show. Welcome, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Stephen, and the whole crew for having me here today. I'm coming in from Vila Moura, Portugal, as I'm in the final stretch of my Olympic preparation. But as you said, yes, with the Andrew Lewis Sailing Foundation, some of the key aspects of it is education. And I am a testimony of someone who is dyslexic, not was, but will forever be dyslexic, because it's something that I believe whether we go through it and master it, it will be part of our life forever. So thank you very much for having me here today. I look forward to diving deep into mastery and a little bit of the Olympics and most importantly here today, the world of dyslexia and how we could succeed with it.
Awesome. So let's start off with, tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about who is Andrew Lewis. What was it like growing up in school? And when did you find out that you were dyslexic? When did you start understanding or knowing that there was something, there was an issue, and you knew you were struggling worse than everybody else?
When people ask me, tell me some of your early memories, I've always been trying to dig deep and find some of my earliest memories. But I have a I would say from birth to around 5-6 years old, very not much of a memory, I could say, that I could really reflect on. I know some people say, yeah, 3-4 years old, I remember this happened to me. I don't really have much of that. My memory really kicks in around 8-9 years old to have really vivid experiences that have an emotion around it and could really, I could really reflect on. And they do say that the child's true emotional system kicks in around 7 years old. So I'm not too sure if that has an effect on it. But when I reflect on school, I do believe that my school days were some of my best days. I had an amazing time in school, but the academic side of school was a big, big challenge. I was not someone who didn't want to go to school per se, but I didn't want to go to school to do the academic side of things. I wanted to go to school to socialize. I wanted to go to school to play sports. I wanted to go to school to do things that not necessarily school was designed for 100%. And when I don't know, my mother was consistently taking me to different people to see what was wrong with my reading and my writing. I just felt like it was part of the process, and I had to do all these lessons, and I had to do all these extracurricular activities, and it was just a continuous flow of, I'm not too sure what's going on here. I don't really like it, but I do believe the interest of my mother was to help me build some of the key fundamentals of life, which is reading and writing. So when those very tedious lessons kept coming up, and these assessment after teacher, and trying to figure out what's really going on, because this felt like no one really knew what was going on. But when I reflect on it, it was just at a very young age, I knew that I wasn't able to read and write and even math in a similar way that my colleagues and peers were. Now, my ability to understand my IQ level is what I would call it nowadays. I knew my IQ level was very high. My competence level of understanding what's happening in this world, what are people trying to tell me, and critical thinking, those kind of things were really sharp. And sports and and physical education were really good. But I wouldn't call myself a very all-rounded student from the point of academics. So that immediately put me in a place in my life where I needed to find the area that was very, very, that was really positive for me. I had a good energy around it. And sports, by far, sports, arts, and you hear this all the time in the world of dyslexia. Sports, arts, music, these are things that dyslexics tend to pick up on faster. And I truly believe it's because if you're not good at something, you are not going to want to do it very much. And if you are good at something, you're going to want to specialize in it. And it just so happens when reading and writing is not just strength and math. Like in my case, it tends to push you towards other things. And then that's how the world of sport became my number one love and passion.
So, sailing wasn't your first sport that you were very successful at. The first sport was volleyball, correct?
Yeah, I really loved the high school sports. So sailing was always there. Sailing was always present. I've been sailing since I was 6, 7 years old. But I really loved volleyball and football. I was the captain of the volleyball team. Football, as in soccer, the captain of those teams, and really doing well at it. But I was doing at it so well that I continuously felt like I'm pushing much harder than everybody else. I'm trying much harder, and it's like I want Andrew times 10 to be on the field when playing football. I want Andrew times 5 to be on the volleyball court. But that wasn't showing up. But every time I went sailing, it's just me in the boat. So if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. There's no one else to fall short or whatnot. So my real love and passion for the ocean also had that addition that when I was becoming national champion in the sport of sailing in the optimist class, and my coach, said, well, you could probably go to the Olympics one day. And he sparked that thought in my mind, along with my dad. And I never turned back from that message that he gave. I never turned back.
Yeah, that one person sport really, it really makes you be honest, because it's you or nothing. If you fail, you fail. So I understand that.
And I reflected it in a similar way to school, because when I was in school, in the end of the day, school is very one person. It's like you're in school and the teacher gives the homework. You got to do your homework almost all the time on your own. Yes, you have group projects sometimes and class activities that are group oriented. But a lot of times your education, whether it will really increase at a level, and that goes for your reading and writing level too, it will only really increase when you as a human being put that extra work into it. And for many years, I fought reading and writing. I was fighting it hard. Just like, I don't want to read and write. Leave me alone, because I was so pushed towards reading and writing. And I don't regret the push, because it's got me where I am today as far as reading and writing. But I do believe that it's almost as if you want to create much more of an environment that a student somehow wants to read something and write something more. Nowadays, I just don't stop writing. I without notes and that's not on a phone. That's physically writing. I'm always taking notes, because I believe not only is it making my writing better and my spelling and grammar better, but it's something that I just feel more connected to, because in a phone, it's just like files that tend to get lost. But when it comes to specific areas, I love to write now, and I enjoy reading a lot more now, so it's only because I've found the love and passion without being forced to it, that I've decided reading and writing is really important for me. But when you look at a kid, or you look at someone who is very dyslexic, and they're trying to learn to read and write, because I've been doing a lot of work under my foundation with the program, in particular, Succeeding with Dyslexia. And that was born out of me going through my dyslexia and realizing that there's not much people talking about dyslexia, and making dyslexia feel like a family oriented. The same way certain people have different groups in society, whether it is a car group or a boat group or a clique or a clip, as they would say. I wanted to bring a dyslexic group together for them to make, first of all, let them know they're not alone, and so that they could relate. And the more we can relate is the more we feel purpose, like we're here and we have other people who are similar to us. So when I brought this group together, and I've been working with these different individuals and explained to them that I once was in similar shoes to them, because I don't believe anybody walks the same shoes, and get them to feel that connection, that if Andrew did it, then so can you. And Andrew and all the other different people that come and spend time with them and work with them, and from a dyslexic point of view. And when I reflect on a young boy or girls growing up, how do you create an environment that is going to allow them to learn on a similar platform to another student? And this is where the world today could really help them, with all the new technology that exists, for ability to have audio books, to have things that edit your work easier for you, that teach you while you're editing. I myself use a lot of these apps and technology too. And having companies like Learning Ally and Grammarly, and these are really beneficial to people like myself. And not only I'm sure these things will work for people who are also not strong readers, regardless if they have dyslexia or not. Because there are a lot of people who could be really strong readers, but never had that early introduction to reading and haven't developed the skills. So a lot of these tools could help people who struggle with reading and writing. So I had some of these tools when I was younger, but the platforms that were created for me, it was so hard to comprehend in those days that I fought the system a lot. And when you fight something, and this is one of the messages I really want to send out to parents and to students and to anybody really listening, is whatever you think of, you're going to multiply it. So I was like saying, I don't want to read. So I was multiplying the time in which I would learn to read. I don't want to write. So I was delaying the time I would want to learn to write properly. And certain things in school that I didn't want to do, I was always delaying it because of whether it was a fair, we all know the beautiful acronym around fair, false evidence appearing real, whether it was a fair that was coming up in my life that I just did not want to go through again because I've had it in the past or whatever it is.
Would you say
I
that
wanted,
would you say that it's a fear?
well,
Or would you
it's a
say that
fear
it's a
to have the
pain?
same experience happen again.
Right. Because I understand what you're saying, and I tend to just a little bit of a twist. I look at it as painful. It's a painful scenario to put a child in a scenario, school, and expect them to do something that they don't have the skills to do, and that it's a painful experience. So we tend to shy away from those things that it causes pain.
Correct. Absolutely 100%. I agree with you. So it's all about creating an environment. So if you're in a class and you're one or two dyslexics in a class and everybody else is not dyslexic and reading and writing 5 times your level, you now create a separation in society, and it feels like you are not human in some instances. You feel like you are just so different.
You're less than.
And they're less than beautiful. And really and truly, we all are different, but it doesn't mean you have to be less than, like as you put it. So I really, really, really fought it, this whole thing. And when people like Dr. Tim Conway came into my life and introduced, I mean, I was telling Dr. Tim Conway, he's someone who cures dyslexia. And he's like, hold on, no, I don't cure dyslexia. My goal is to rewire the brain so that the brain could read and write, mainly read in a similar form to the normal brain.
So stop right there. I want to ask you. So you met Dr. Tim Conway. You've lived your entire life going through, going to, every expert known to your parents or your mom, and at what stage in life, or how old were you when you met Dr. Conway?
I was 29 years old.
So you've spent
I would say
the majority of your life believing that this is what
exactly.
it is. This is as good as it's going to get. Let's move forward.
Honestly, I did know, because the speed in which I was increasing reading before I met Dr. Tim Conway, I knew that I would continue to progress. But I didn't expect to have, after spending 8 months with him and his teachers, to have an increase in my reading that now has me actually buying books. I was never a person that buys books. That was a no way. I'll have someone hand me a book, and I get offered free books all the time. Andrew, read my book for me. Tell me what you think. And I just would just, thank you very much. I out of respect, receive the book, maybe read it back, put it aside. And now with Dr. Tim Conway, it's like a whole new desire, not only to read, but to learn. It's just like I want to learn so much more about life, because a whole new door, a whole new world has been opened to me in the way I could understand things, the way I could process things. Because even when I was reading in the past, I wasn't comprehending the reading. And that also had some things, because the way I was processing words, I was reading things that actually weren't there. It was like my mind was making up words.
You're sticking words in there where it makes sense that word would be there. However, the word's not there.
Yes.
So just to see if this experience happened with you, I was about, I want to say it was the first week or two into the program, and I got angry. I mean, I physically got angry because I was like, why the blankety blank 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 didn't somebody teach me this way when I was in elementary school? I mean, because I understand now, and I see how much different school could have been for not even for me, but for everybody else that's going through school right now. Why didn't somebody do this long ago? Because there's so many people out there that their lives could be just completely changed, that could give them the opportunity to go do those other things.
I mean, when I was working with my tutor, and I'm a very curious guy. I'm always like, it's always kind of funny to me, what's happening here. Like, and I was, where are they going with this course? All these moving things, and we're using the alphabet that wasn't even the alphabet. I was really intrigued by, because when I met Dr. Tim Conway and I saw the work he had been doing, he himself he sold the program to me. And he didn't even have to sell the program to me. He just told me what he does. And I was like, I'm there. And it took me a little while because I was in the middle of Olympic qualifying, and it took me about 7 or 8 months to start. And when I did start, I was like, what is this? This is really strange things. But at the same time, like, where are we going with this? Because I'm interested. Like, this is the most uncommon method of rewiring the brain or learning to read in I've ever gone across. So let's go, because everything conventional hasn't been as successful. So let's see what we could do here. I mean, I'm not going to say the conventional ways haven't worked. It just hasn't worked at this speed that he says it could work. So I'm saying, well, let's go with all these unique things. Right. And the most important thing is my ability. I don't know 100% what switched. I have a couple theories that I would put it to, but my comprehending skills of what I'm reading and understanding is a big part of the game-changing aspect for me. Now, for the last, very similar to when I met Dr. Tim Conway, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been working on mastering Andrew Lewis, taking Andrew Lewis to the next level. Not sailing for the sake of just going to the Olympic Games, but sailing for the sake of trying to win a gold medal for my country, putting it all on the line. Not building relationships with people for the sake of just building them to see what I can get from them now for the short term. No, doing things for the long term. How can I have relationships with people that are long and loving and healthy? How can I eat in a different way? How can I breathe in a different way? How can I, when I started learning meditation, how can I meditate in a different way? I never understood things like meditation and stillness and how powerful, because I have a brain that is very, very fast moving. I could be in something that's very high energy oriented, and my brain goes to something else. The brain goes to something else. And doing things like coming back to your breath really helped me stay present. So I might be reading a book, and the book takes me to another experience or memory. And I'm just there dazing off, but coming back to my breath at the present moment is something that I never thought would really be anything major in my life. But it really has helped me come back to where I am, because I'm trying to really focus on achieving something what's in front of me and what is part of me in the present moment. And then the way I started to eat, I remember I used to eat certain things and I would feel sleepy, or I would feel dizzy, or I would just feel not energized. I changed the way my diet was, to eat much more plant-based, to eat much more whole food, and to cut out a lot of things. And the way that I grew up, the way, the Western world, I would call it, of living, it has brought me into a way of just, what you see in the way people live on TV, on Instagram, and social media is the way you be. But instead, I decided I was going to go to and research much more about the Eastern philosophies, and understand why certain languages don't have many dyslexic people, because different languages are easier to understand than others. And this whole exploration of my life around self-mastery has really revolutionized, and I've taken my life back from what the world has told me to believe, what the world has told me I can and can't do. And I now decide what I can do. I now decide how I want to live, where I want to live, how I want to eat, how I want to breathe, instead of just following. And that is something that's really, really important, that we're going to come across a lot of different ways for dyslexia, a lot of different ways for living, and a lot of different ideas. And all day long, we're going to be having people selling things to us. But for me, the fundamental thing is coming back to, as I say, our human aspect, our nature aspect, our loving aspect, our true belief system aspect. And this is where I am right now.
So let me ask you a question, Andrew. When you were doing your remediation and going through that, of course, I asked you one day, when is your off season? And you said, I never stopped training. So obviously you were training during the time that you were doing this remediation. But now that you've finished that piece of it, do you see a difference in yourself, the way that you train, the way that you look at your sailing and your Olympic journey and that type of thing?
Absolutely. My confidence in, for example, every competition we start, there's a rules and regulations and a whole booklet that comes out around this competition, especially now with the whole COVID-19 restrictions and how we have to do and where we have to go. A lot of times I would miss some very key important aspects, and these things could cause me to lose the entire competition, be disqualified. Nowadays, I pick up that whole thing and read it, every single page, check it. All right, cool, this is important. Before, I'd ask my coach to do it for me. I didn't want to read it. Growing up as a coach, what are the important things I got to know here that's not normal? That's not part of the routine. And he would tell me, because I just, if I couldn't comprehend it, that's one aspect. Or if I was just not feeling to read because I wasn't motivated to read, it just wasn't encouraging.
So that's I've seen that in my own life, and I know that there are others that when you've faced that thing that has kept you back, that you've spent so much time in your life trying to hide, and now you don't have to hide anymore. The amount of energy that comes out of that is extra, the extra energy that comes out, that now I don't have to worry about that, is so much more. You can get so much more accomplished.
Absolutely. The ability to do some of the fundamentals in life, fill out a form with the right spelling, send an email that you're not embarrassed about. I'm 31 years old. These are some of the most important and basic things out there, and I still do make a little mistake here and there. Huh?
Oh yeah,
I mean, even I'm not perfect, but at the same time, I am miles ahead of where I was even at 5 years ago.
Right.
So when it comes to looking at what Dr. Tim Conway has done in my life and how he has revolutionized me as a human being, build my confidence. There's even a good story that 7 years ago I was offered to be a news anchor on one of the top sports channels at home. And I was like, well, this could be a cool idea because it was like a part-time job and I would be reading news for the sports and just a cool opportunity. But there was no way. There was no way I could accept a job like that with my skill set at that point in time. But give me another year or two to sharpen up on my reading. And absolutely, I believe for sure, given the right amount of time to prepare for it every time I had to do it, I could pull it off. It would require some dedication and like they have many different actors that are dyslexic but they still learn their lines. It may take a little extra revision, but it's doable now. I absolutely could say that yes, I could accept a job like that.
That's awesome. So in 2015, you had a pretty horrific accident. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what that it to me, it lends credibility to your willingness to fight back and fight through, and all the way through school, that's basically prepared you for when you got hurt, right? That grit, that I'm not going to sit here and allow myself to just be the end. So that helped you along the way. Do you want to talk a little bit about your accident?
Absolutely. You know, the way I see it is, I continuously say that my accident was a blessing. Dyslexia was a blessing in my life. Some of these major challenges that were really life changing, not qualifying for the Olympics, my first Olympic trials in 2008. These aspects were some major life changing parts of my career, of my life, of my being. But it's so true. The level of resilience I needed to build as a young boy was really, really tedious. And these are some of the fundamental baselines that are built around me that have allowed me to succeed through. I mean, I wouldn't say anything that comes my way. I could succeed through it. I could get through it. And with this accident that happened in Brazil, where I was jumping over the wall, I forgot my house keys. And anybody who wants to see the actual thing happen, they can go on YouTube, type in Andrew Lewis Believe, and you'll see the actual wall fall on me, or the cap, as they say, the wall cap. So yeah, it destroyed me, you know. Whether it crushed me or fell on me in different parts, it broke my leg, my ribs, my face. I had a lot of surgeries, like 7 surgeries with screws in my face and facial reconstruction and my jaw and my facial bones and surgery in my leg to put a rod and screws and learning to breathe again and learning to walk again and learning to eat again, and the fundamentals that were taken away, or I would say restricted at that point in time. I couldn't breathe properly because I had 2 ribs into my lung. I couldn't eat because my jaw was all broken, my face was crushed, and I couldn't walk because I had a broken leg. You know, I was just faced there with, you know, feeling like I was on top of the world, getting ready for the Olympic Games in 8 months, and all of a sudden life just came crashing down, and I did not know where I was, what was happening, and I'm actually in the hospital waking up. I remember in the hospital waking up a couple hours later, and asking me what happened, and having little to no recollection. The only reason I know now is because of the video, so I could see it very clearly in my mind. But, you know, I've always been fascinated and curious about what life has in it for me next. And I'm not here to live for the short term. I'm here to live for the long term. I'm going to live long and I'm going to live strong. And the ability to continue to live like this through all the experiences I've been through have made me the strong person that I am. And I only use this experience through this accident to inspire people, to motivate people. I like to document things. I have a lot of my history of my life on my phone. I'm always taking videos and pictures, because not necessarily to showcase, but because I believe that I could relate to people more as life goes by. Because if someone says, hey, I want to see what this happened at this time, I could always show them so that they could connect. The more connections I can make in life, the more people I could help. And the more people I could help in life is allow me to increase my purpose on this planet. So while I had this accident, I had to learn to walk, I had to learn to eat again, I had to learn to breathe on my own again. And I said, if I could get these fundamentals back, I could go to the Olympic Games, you know? And people were like, you know, people were hoping that I would walk one day again. And people were wondering what would happen to me, because you never know what will have come out of an accident. You know, I've heard so many things that people who have accidents and just very crazy things come out of it. And for me, it was just based around, you know, believing in God. I've always been a firm believer that God is the creator and the Almighty, whichever God you believe in. I have one I believe in. And I just continue to pray and believe, That's why I call the documentary Andrew Lewis Believe, because I was believing that I could do this. And what I was believing in, I believe I could breathe on my own again, I could walk again, and I could eat again. And if I had these 3 things, why can't I sail again? If I could sail again, why can't I go to the Olympic Games? And that was the belief system I was building. And I built a team around me, my family, my girlfriend back then, or my wife. I just built a team around me that had me strong. Because without the doctors putting me back together, without the people who helped feed me, helped push me around and drive me around and bring me back to where I am today, I don't know where I would be without them. This is a fundamental part of our life, because when we are dyslexic, we struggle in certain areas. So whether you're a young boy, girl, mother, father, you got to build a team around your child. You got to build a team around yourself, because it's super important that they can have these people to turn to. They can have these people to relate to. And I'm all about relating. While I practice one religion, I decided to study many different religions so I can understand many different human beings. My goal when I leave this planet, wherever that is to understand as many different cultures, many different human beings, many different religions, many different things in life on the whole. And this allows me to be much more relatable. I can relate to much more people, especially the dyslexic community, which I love and have so much, hope and vision for. And when parents come to me saying, Andrew, my child, he or she is struggling so much with dyslexia, how can you help? And I do know that in my future, I will be working with dyslexic boys and girls to really, maybe a massive part of my future, as maybe even a job or career, to help relate with them. Because even though, from my understanding, dyslexic is hereditary, I don't know how well a parent could connect with their child. From my experiences, maybe there are many parents out there that can, but I haven't really come across many parents who could connect very well with their child to say, hey, I had it too. So you could connect with me and let me take you along the journey to show you how to get through this. And that's what we really need. Yes, we need Dr. Tim Conway. Yes, we need the teachers. Yes, we need people like Learning Ally. We need a lot of these different software companies to help the journey. But we need, first of all, what you're doing here today with these podcasts and these different platforms that you're creating to share these stories. This is fundamental to you don't know what mother or father will cross your YouTube page and see this story and all of a sudden want to contact Dr. Tim Conway, want to contact me, want to contact somebody around this avenue, that all of a sudden a child or a parent or somebody is thinking of taking their life is now inspired to live their life to its fullest potential. And this is what we're here for. Right. We're here to help human beings optimize themselves, to find their best version of themselves. Like you went through your journey. You are dyslexic too, but you figured out a way. You've come along a journey, and it's never too late. That's the most important thing. And you found it later than I did. So I mean, look at you now, sitting here in your beautiful studio, your jacket, all proud, I'm sure, to know that you have a platform that can help people be inspired, feel more loved, feel more energetic. And I honestly want to really thank you for bringing me here today, because this is what this is about. I'm not here. I mean, tomorrow starts the biggest competition of my career since I started racing. Tomorrow is a massive competition starting, and I'm going to go to bed soon. But I want to make sure I could take the time with you, because yes, racing is my job, is my career. But what is racing without helping human beings? This is all this is about. Right. I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to share my story so other people could relate to it, and we can help people through your platform.
Andrew, you talk about relating to people, and we relate to people, as you were saying, through our story. And, while in my story, I looked at dyslexia as a long, dark tunnel or black tunnel where we, basically stumble around a lot trying to figure out how do we get through the other side. And there was lots of pain and agony. There was lots of depression and anxiety. And if I can't take that experience and use it for good, then what was worth going through all of that? So I want to make sure that people understand that you're not alone, that we're here. And those of us that have made it through the other side, it's our job, it's our duty to go back in that dark tunnel and grab hands and walk through.
That's it. That's exactly it, you know. So I know a lot of people who have very successful careers and retire, and they take their retirement and they go somewhere and live a life of, and they deserve it. They deserve to go and take their retirement earnings and go and live a life quietly. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I believe that the human being, our experience, I couldn't sit here with you and tell you this story 15 years ago. I haven't been through the journey to be able to tell you. It wasn't the time then. I knew that I wanted to tell a story, and I know I have a lot more story to tell in different ways. And we all do, because once we're evolving like we are, once our heart is beating and we are alive, and once we're alive, we have more stories to create, more opportunities to have, and more people to connect with. So while I go through this and sitting here at 31 years old, I'm super, super, super grateful that all these massive struggles that I went through, where it was feel like laying on my deathbed in Rio, or feeling like I was the most, you know, stupid person in my class, feeling like I was ignorant, I was just unable to learn, I was just a waste of time. What am I even doing here? I'm not like the rest. And the graphic lyrics can go on and on, how empty I felt and how disconnected I felt. But the most important thing is I went through that, and many other people are going through that right now. And it's important to have human connectivity to relate to.
Absolutely.
Because to anybody who's listening to this or watching this here today, I want to really tell you from the bottom of my heart that it's not easy. But what is it? It is going to show you, most importantly, what is easy. So recognize these parts of your life that are easy. I recognized at a young age that school was not easy for me, and was not going to be. I was not going to be a professor in math. I knew that. I'm not saying I can't, because I do believe in the power of the mind, with the power of focus, with the power of redesigning the human brain, I could be. There's nothing I don't believe I can be. But what I do believe is I'm a true believer in listening to what is your heart telling you, the things you love. And I knew that at a very young age that sports and things like marketing and things like helping people were things I really enjoyed doing, and it brought value and it brought love to my heart. And I consistently cross people and say, hey, what are you good at? Just tell me what you're good at. Well, I'm great. I'm really good at writing. I love to write. I have amazing handwriting. What do you do? Well, I work in a veterinary. But do you enjoy your job? Not really. I'm not a big fan of animals. I just got the job because of a friend. I want people to listen to their heart and listen to what they're good at. You don't get good at for no reason at something. It's because it has a place in your life. I was really good at sports. I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at understanding many different things that allow me to be an Olympic athlete. I listened to that very clearly, and I went down that pathway. At 14 years old, I was extremely confident I would be an Olympic athlete. And I never let anything get in the way of that. I tried, I didn't qualify, I did quit. I felt like this is not for me. This is just another thing like education I'm not good at. But my heart never stopped talking to me. And once you listen to that, I believe you can have that really strong human connection. And it will guide you to what you love. And the more you follow that, and the more you listen to it, and the more you go inside. And I believe the best way to go inside is to close your eyes and listen to what you're feeling, cut out the sound, cut out what you're seeing. But all these external factors are programming our minds. So you want to ask yourself, how are you feeling? What are you really good at? Go inside, find a quiet place, find a place in your life that called a creative zone. I have those in my life, and we all should have that, so that we could create what we believe is important to us. We could feel what we believe is important for us to feel. We could breathe what we believe is important for us to breathe, so that we could create more of who we are. Andrew Lewis could create more Andrew Lewis every day, and could showcase Andrew Lewis at its best every day. And we all have that inside of us. But in order for us to bring that out, we have to kind of almost disconnect to all these external wires that are coming inside of it. What this person's telling you, what that person's telling you, to follow your heart. And I've never lost connection throughout all the sadness, throughout all the pain. I've never lost connection with my heart, and I don't believe that the world is utilizing their heart at its full capacity right now.
So I've got one last question for you. So if you could speak to the school-aged Andrew Lewis today, what would you tell him?
Don't fight the system. Don't fight the teachers. Don't fight the things that you really know are important to you. Don't create disbeliefs. Sometimes we say, well, I don't need that, so I'm not going to do it, or many other things will show up in my life. So when things will show up in my life saying, well, I'm really good at sports, I don't even need to go to school, or I could get past school without having to go to school, or maybe cheating in class, or doing anything possible to just make life easier. I really do believe that it's all there for us. And the things that helped me the most that I didn't do enough of is create that human connection with the teacher or the teachers. And sometimes they're going to tell you, suck it up, go home and read it. And that is not necessarily the way to go about it. But continuously don't give up on expressing yourself. Don't give up on finding classmates that are able to help you through school. I wish I did much more of that. You may be excellent at one subject and they may not be. Find these areas to find that balance so you could find people to help you. I believe that if I could tell Andrew Lewis something to do much more of, is be patient and try to focus a little bit more. And that would give me the ability to remove much more of the pain that is telling me I can't do this and I can't do that, and increase the saying, I could do this. But with the right help, with the right support, it can be done.
Absolutely. Well, I know that you've got to get to bed and rest. I know you got your competition tomorrow. I'm so honored that you took the time to come on here and talk with us. I have wanted to get you on here for close to a year, and I'm so honored. Like I said, I'm so honored that you came here, and I can't wait till the Summer Olympics so I can sit back and watch you compete.
Thank you very much. I'm excited for that too, and I'm also excited to inspire people to create the Olympic journey if that's something of theirs or something similar. And once the Olympic Games are done, to get back to my helping the dyslexic community, or my dyslexic family, as I like to call them.
Sounds good. So thank you again. Please come back after the Olympics, after things kind of slow down just a little bit. I'd love to have you back and talk to you a little bit more, especially about your experience in the Olympics. So we can talk about that, talk about more of your sailing foundation and how people can be involved in that. So for events, I want to talk about Learning Ally, who is one of our sponsors, is putting on a virtual event called the Spotlight on Dyslexia. This virtual event is June 4th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central. It's an all-day professional learning that you can earn up to 12 CE credits. And if you can't attend live, it is on demand until December 1st. There is a discount code specially for the Empowered Dyslexia viewers, and it's SPOD Empower. So all capital letters, SPOD Empower. I'll put the graphic of the discount code along with details in the details of this video. It gets you $20 off the $99 registration fee. And I'll be there, and the Empower Dyslexia team actually will be there at our virtual booth. Please stop by and say hi. So Andrew Lewis is one of the key speakers. So I can't wait to hear his story there. David Kilpatrick, Dr. David Kilpatrick, and Dr. Susan Hall are also keynote speakers. So at the end of every show, we like to recommend, if your child is struggling and you're not sure what is going on, please get your child tested. Don't wait. The process should be very simple. We have templates for the test letter that you turn into your school counselor. We have that on our website at www.empowerdyslexia.org. You can download that template, fill out your information, turn it into your school counselor, get that process started. You will be relieved to understand kind of what's going on with your child and know that there is supports and help out there to make sure that your child can get on grade level. It's an honor to do this show each and every week. This show is not about me. It's not about Empower Dyslexia. It's about you and your family. This is our show, and I'm so proud and honored to be able to get up here every week and do this show. So until next time, here's a word from our sponsors.
Learning Ally is a proud sponsor of the Empowered Dyslexia podcast. At Learning Ally, we are always looking for new ways to engage readers struggling with a reading deficit like dyslexia and help them work to their potential. Visit www.learningally.org to learn about the Learning Ally audiobook solution, including which of your students are eligible for access. If you live in Texas, we have great news. The Texas Education Agency provides access to the Learning Ally audiobook solution for all K-12 public and charter school students with reading deficits. Get started today by visiting www.learningally.org/Texas.